Welcome to another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast, featuring the Almighty B Live, the Money Man Scottie D, and your host, the head of creative, Eddy Cool. And without any further ado, let's give it up for the Sports Bros. Hey, what's going on, world? This be your boy, Eddy Cool, a.k.a. the HOC, and you're tuned in to episode number 105, 105 of the Sports Bros Podcast. And guess what? We're going to wave to you once again. Shout out to our viewers that see us via YouTube on a weekly basis. Yes, we're pointing at you. Be Live Chuck and Deuces. Scottie D's pointing at you, brothers and sisters, and everybody worldwide. And we want to welcome you one more time to another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. Enough of my incoherent rambling. It's time to introduce the greatest co-host in the world. Introducing first, the Almighty B Live.
What's happening? What's going on in the world today? 105 strong, man, oh man, all kinds of stuff we want to talk about. You know, just three bros talking about sports. Well, two bros and then that older guy, that other guy on the show. So, you know, got to respect that elders. Yeah. Eddy Cool, if you want to go ahead and introduce the other guy.
Oh, boy. And the other guy, the pride, Washington, Pennsylvania, the Money Man, Scottie D.
Thank you. Thank you for that wonderful intro. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my podcast, Scott Dunn and the Sports Bros. So glad that you could join us here today. And Sports Bros, let me be the first to wish you a happy allergy season. This is great.
Yeah, I'm looking. I was before we recorded, I was looking in the front yard and I was like, are those snow flurries? No, that's those little flowers from the trees. I got real concerned because Scottie D, in the region where we live at, we might get a smattering of snow.
Yeah, Wednesday it's calling for snow here in the western Pennsylvania, Ohio area. I thought we were done with that. It's allergy time. Come on.
And we had a chance. And I had a chance to cut my grass this morning. It was so nice. Just smelling fresh cut grass. And I got my earbuds on and listen to Booker T by Bad Bunny. And then Wednesday we're gonna see some snow. Man, look. Be live, be blessed that you don't have to deal with this here bipolar weather. Please be blessed.
Oh, well, it's bipolar here, but we just don't do snow. It's just one day it's 80, one day it's 50. Next day it's 65, a slight chance of thunderstorms and hail. I don't know. It is what it is. But in my famous words, we digress. Yes, sir, Eddy Cool. Let's make it happen.
Yep, that's right. We digress, and we had a lot going on in the world of sports this weekend. But first, we want to talk about some Major League Baseball as we lead off with the top of the order. That's right, Major League Baseball, with the season being a few weeks old, there's a lot going on and a lot we're asking ourselves, in the words of the Almighty B Live, what happened? And with that being said, Scottie D, what are your early season thoughts of this very young 2021 baseball season?
Well, I'm sure the team that's on the forefront of everyone's mind is the Pittsburgh Pirates. You know, I've been watching a lot of Bucco games, but and they're actually not. They're 7-9 as of this recording with a day off here. Not performing too badly. They just won 2 out of 3 in Milwaukee. So let's go Bucks. But you know, when we think about actually the top teams we were talking about coming into the season, we were talking Yankees, we were talking Braves, we're talking Dodgers. Yankees have the worst record right now in the American League. Guys, I don't know what's going on with them. It seems like something is missing from that team. Now it's you know, we're 2 weeks in. And if you remember last year, the Yankees down the stretch, shortly going into the stretch, they lost 15 out of 20 games. So it's not like this group of guys is, you know, it's a shock for them to have a little bit of downtime. It's just magnified so much because it's early in the season. They followed that up last year with a 10-game winning streak. Now, does this team have it in them to do that? I don't know. Like I said, I feel like something's missing. Part of it is contact. These guys are striking out at an alarming rate. Aaron Hicks is terrible in center field. He's striking out like crazy. These guys are making errors. Stanton is striking out like crazy. Aaron Judge is striking out like crazy. And, I know the modern era of baseball tells you to swing for the fences and contact's not necessary. But when everybody's striking out and everybody's sitting on the bench, you're not scoring runs. And it seems like the only bright spot really has been Garrett Cole. They have one really, really good starting pitcher. And then it doesn't seem the Yanks are ice cold right now. And on the other side, we were talking about the Braves. The Braves started off cold, then got hot. Now they're kind of cold. And Acuna got hurt. He's day to day though, right? I hear that he's off to a blazing start.
Yeah.
So
he's off to a blazing start. Go ahead, B-Live.
Yeah, I just which version of the Braves are we gonna get? Because literally they lost their first 4 games, then they won the next 4 games, then they lost the next 3 or some games, then won. I'm like, hold on, wait, okay, getting a little dizzy. My Braves are what? They're 7-9. One thing that I've noticed in most of the divisions, I know it's very early. We still got another 140 some odd games to go. But in most of the divisions, nobody's really a clear-cut favorite. Like, one thing something that really stands out is the Red Sox are leading the division. Well, I think we picked them to be dead last.
We did. We picked them to be dead last.
And they're top of their division. The Mets are leading the National League East. And all the teams are right in the midst of everything. We don't really know what's going on. Only thing I think that we all agreed on that's happening right now is the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yeah, they're 13-3 as of this recording.
Yep.
But remember what I said. Was it last week or the week before that I said that officiating, if it didn't get better, we're going to put it at the top of the order. We're going to talk about it. Tell me what happened between was it the Chicago White Sox and Cleveland Indians and the whole lift up of the leg and then the benches clear. Oh boy.
Yeah, I missed all that. I didn't see all that. I know they had a bench clearing situation, but I didn't see the genesis of that exactly.
Well, this is how it started. Player was sliding into second base, and he was actually safe, but he slid a little bit further on the base. But the second baseman, it was the second baseman or the shortstop, lifted his leg and in turn lifted his body off of the base, and they called him out. And it was clear as day that he was safe. The umpire was literally on top of it, and you could see where the player was standing underneath them, like underneath the slide, and he lifted up on his leg, which made him come off the bag, and the umpire called him out. And then they say, fisticuffs and boom, 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 boom. But just oh boy, I don't get it. I don't see what umpires say. Maybe I need to research that rule a little bit more. Maybe that you're actually allowed to physically move somebody off the bag. I don't think that's the case.
No.
But according to the new rules and the umpires that got going on, that's exactly what happened.
Maybe that's why they went to 18-inch per side bags that they're experimenting with. Maybe that's why they want to make the bags bigger to avoid situations like that.
That makes sense. All kind of sense.
So yeah, and that's what caused the fracas or the brawl per se, because literally he physically removed the player off the bag, and it was the Chicago White Sox base runner Adam Eaton, and it was the Cleveland shortstop Andres Jimenez, and Jimenez literally he lifted him off the bag, and yeah, we got to go for blows, but the umpire is. He is the distance from me to my camera, and was standing right on top of it, and everybody and their grandma saw that he lifted them off the bag. But whatever.
Well, it's going to be a long season. It's going to be a long season if you're going to pair up umpires every week. This is 2 weeks in a row that you've been unhappy with the umpiring in baseball.
I'm very. Oh, you know what? Another thing that I'm unhappy with the umpiring, and I'm going to say it.
Tell me.
And this involves your New York Yankees. Classless, not you, but the fans in the stands. They were upset and started throwing baseballs on the field when they were facing Tampa Bay.
Boo! Do better.
And it was mentioned,
and that's wrong.
Yeah. Yes.
That's frowned upon in New York. I had no idea.
Yeah, but man, it was like, what are you doing? But then the umpires, it's whatever. The players, the Tampa Bay players that are on the field that could actually get hit by these baseballs, no, let's leave them on the field. No danger, whatever. Don't clear the field or anything like that. Just leave them out there. Umpires, shame on you. Just come on.
Shame.
So the Yankee fans, I know. You think you're God's greatest gift to fandom in baseball, and the Yankees supposed to be all that and a bag of chips and some Doritos and Cracker Jacks, and I don't care if I ever come back. But yeah, your team's not all that. Sorry, it just isn't. And throwing baseballs on the field, causing a delay, potentially harming someone. Yep, not a good look.
Yeah, definitely not a good look. And speaking of struggling, so no one's going to talk about how the Houston Astros are struggling in the American League West and how the Seattle Mariners are in first place at 10-6. Wait a minute. The Mariners are 10-6.
Yeah, that's a surprise.
Yes, big old surprise. Sure didn't see that coming. And I'm over.
And that's one of those things that makes me say it's very, very early.
Yeah.
Because as the season goes on, the Mariners are not going to be in first place and the Astros are not going to be under 500. I mean, I have a hard time believing that 15 games, 16 games in, that's not going to hold up. Well, but also in that division, though, the Angels, and remember I was talking about them before we did our lead, and Trout's off to a good start, and Ohtani is Shohei Ohtani's finally kind of looking like what they wanted him to be, a solid hitter and a good pitcher. They weren't getting much of that from him the last couple of years. So Angels are 8-5. I mean, like I said, it's early. It's so early, guys. It's so early. But whenever you're a Yankee fan and you see 5-10, the worst record in the league, you can't help but think that the Yankee fans are going to hit the panic button that early.
I'm gonna throw another caveat to you. In that same division, a certain team in that division in the AL West started out the year 1-7 and are now on an 8-game winning streak after getting the brakes beat off of them by Houston. The Oakland A's are now 9-7.
Yeah,
they're on an 8-game. What is? Let me go back to the my
doing it on the road too. Doing it on the road.
Yeah, which ain't easy. It's not easy at all.
What's going on in the world today?
Yeah.
Oh my God, baseball. That you gotta love it. But yeah, I had to get that off my chest just for our listeners and our viewers. We weren't even going to talk about baseball. I was going to throw some pepper on it, but it was just too much. I said, man, Eddy Cool, please, can we talk about baseball? Please. Next week, I'm going to beg and plead for us to talk about soccer.
and then we won't do that. And then we will not do that. Well, we're gonna let you keep begging and pleading on that one.
Please, baby, please, baby, please. You gonna keep begging and pleading. And with that being said, that's it for the Major League Baseball recap roundup in the very early portion of the season. As B-Dog said, we got 52 games. You said remaining.
That was about 140 something.
My math's a little off, but we got 140 plus more games to go. Yeah, like it's a little early, Scottie D. I think your Yankees don't need to hit the panic button. Something's got to happen, and be like the Braves, something's got to happen, and Ronald Acuna needs to get back together. So it's early. We just need tranquilo. We all need to calm down just a little bit.
Acuna is day to day. He is day to day. So, all right, we need him to come on back. And
I think if I'm not mistaken, they're playing the Yankees next 2 days. They get, I think, Monday off, and then got the Yankees coming up for 2 games.
Yep.
Then I think they got another day off. So Acuna, they may even sit Acuna against the Yankees and let him fully heal up, give him like 4 or 5 days, or DH him maybe, instead of sending him out in the field. But yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Two teams that I picked in the World Series, both under 500 here, 3 weeks into the season.
Yep. Well, we'll see what happens come September. We will definitely see what happens come September. All right, moving right along, fellas. There was a fight this weekend. Yeah, Triller. Yeah, something called a Triller Fight Night. If you're not aware, Triller is a app where you can go watch videos, do all this fun stuff. The headlining fight was Ben Askren and Jake Paul, all right, in an exhibition bout. Ben got knocked the hell out. That's what happened. Ben got knocked the hell out. And for those of us that watched it, I kind of sort of caught parts of it. I kind of told you guys how I found out about Ben Askren getting knocked out. And so with that being said, Be Live, what did you think?
What happened? What happened? Exactly.
What happened? Yeah, I'm at loss of words. What happened?
Nothing happened because I didn't watch it. And just because it was on the rundown, I briefly looked at some highlights, and it was exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Scott, hold it up again.
A joke, a travesty. You knew that it was a joke when one of the most storied sports announcers of all time mispronounces the name of the main event boxer. Michael Buffer. He is synonymous with boxing. Come on. Let's get ready to rumble. Come on. He makes money off of just his catchphrase. But come on, bro. Come on. Funky Ben Askew? What? Who is that? That shows you right there. He didn't care. I didn't care. We didn't care. And since you put it on the rundown to talk about it, we're talking about soccer next week. I don't care.
Oh, no.
Why? Okay, Scottie D, I want you, at this point in time, I want you to make this a topic something worthwhile to talk about. This is okay. You right here.
Okay.
Go
all right.
It.
So if you are wanting to be
boo.
Go ahead, Scott.
There's still more action than any soccer game, I can promise you that. And there was not a lot of action. Let me tell you, if you are interested in just an entertainment spectacle, that's kind of what this was. And we're not against that because we watch wrestling. We're fans of the spectacle of pro wrestling and the predetermined outcome and blah, 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 and all the hoopla. But this goes back to in December when Mike Tyson fought Roy Jones Jr. in that exhibition fight. And this Paul guy fights Nate Robinson and knocks him clean out with a hard punch in the first round. You had Snoop Dogg on the telecast. It was kind of like a novel thing. So they try to replicate this time and build on it. And they brought Pete Davidson in to go to the locker room and casually interview these guys. And then they bring in Al Bernstein to try to make it seem somewhat legit. And then there's Snoop Dogg and he's drinking. Then they got Frank Mir, former UFC fighter, fighting Steve Cunningham, who was a former boxer. And Oscar De La Hoya shows up about hammered out of his mind and absolutely embarrasses himself. There's about 12 guys all talking at the same time, and De La Hoya is yelling and this going on. They had Justin Bieber. That's all you really need to know. They had Doja Cat, something like that. I don't know.
Doja Cat.
This came on the air at 9:00 and went off at like 12:30, and they had 4 fights, and they were like 6-round fights. One of those fights was a knockout in the first round, the Ben Askren fight. This was, I tell you what, Triller is looking to promote fights. They are supposed to be putting on Teofimo Lopez and George Kambosos' fight on June 5th. They better get their act together and take this more serious than what this was. And like I said, this is just entertainment. They're trying to sell some pay-per-views to make some money off it. I get it. It just was not very well done. And when it came to the fight itself, now this is his name, Jake Paul. Is that who it was? Logan Paul?
Jake Paul.
Okay. Jake Paul obviously was taking this kind of serious because he trained and stuff. Ben Askren was obviously not. This dude, now I understand, and I don't know the whole deal with this, but Ben Askren apparently had some kind of, I think, a hip procedure or something in the last few months, but he was obviously not training for this fight. Ben Askren is a world-class wrestler. He was never known as a striker to begin with. He was never knocking guys out. So he was not going to be a threat to knock out Jake Paul anyway. Jake Paul now has 3 wins, none of which are over another boxer. This was a travesty. It was an embarrassment. And again, if you're in it for just say, oh, I want to watch some singing and some goofing off, then this was your event. But if you're serious, then you did what I did and went into the other room and watched the UFC, because they put on a pretty good fight night on ESPN on Saturday night. But this was not very good.
You know,
Scottie D. Could you put up that turd emoji? Could you put that up again? Because that's what Triller did. They threw a whole bunch of turds against the wall to see if something would stick.
Yeah,
like that. Like what you told me. Because again, I didn't even watch it, but the way you described it, it was a complete and utter turd storm. I want to say
show.
Yeah,
show. Yeah,
yeah. In the way you described it,
it really was.
I knew it was going to be bad. And why would any self-respecting boxing fan actually watch anything on Triller?
Well, I will tell you this: as you guys know, I have a access to watch any pay-per-view sporting events. I pay a monthly subscription. If I would have paid to watch this, like paid for this event, I would have been hating myself on Sunday morning. I don't know what their buy rate came in as. I can't imagine that it would have been very good. But you know, when you got the guy in the main event, Ben Askren, not even taking the event seriously himself, he didn't train for this. Even during the event, like it was the round only went like a minute and a half. Snoop Dogg was making fun of him because he was like in the 40s boxing style. He looked like one of these vaudevillian style boxers with the big mustache. Yeah, I mean, he had no technique. He had not trained. He was out of shape. It was just terrible. And then when it was over, it really was. And when it was over, Jake Paul broke down in tears. I know he had lost a bodyguard the week prior and was emotional, but he was acting like he just knocked out Floyd Mayweather. And this is Ben Askren. Askren even tried to fight. He got back up to his feet and he was wobbling around like me on a Friday night in 2010. I mean, that's what he looked like. He was just kind of staggering around, and the referee rightfully didn't let it continue. It was just awful, and I hope we don't see any more of that. I will watch Teofimo Lopez fight in June, and I hope that Triller, if they're the ones that are going to put this event on, that they are a little bit more professional and tighter in their coverage than what we had the other night. But like I said, it was an event. It was an entertainment event.
If Triller is smart, Scottie D, they will go get our guy Edgar Berlanga. They would go get him. Yeah, let's go see Edgar Berlanga versus Jake Paul. All right, the fight gonna last about like what, 50 seconds? Big boom. But I'm not gonna lie, man. That Jake Paul got a nice little right, man. I mean, the way he Askren missed the first one, and then he stood there, open face sandwich, and boom, he caught another, and down goes Askew.
Yeah. But he's not fighting fighters. He's not fighting boxers. That's the whole thing. He fought a basketball player who was short, the shortest basketball player you get your hands on. He fought a UFC fighter who can't punch. And I don't even know who the first person is. I don't know who the first guy was he fought, but I know he hasn't fought a boxer.
I'm just gonna throw a couple of stats at you real quick. That fight drew over 1.4 million pay-per-view buys.
Hmm.
So it's 1.45 million idiots in the world. And
at $50 a pop.
Yeah. But
and I think Askren took home $500,000 for it. I think he got paid $500,000 for it.
He got paid $6,410.26 a second.
Oh man. Maybe I should fight Jake Paul, huh?
I'm just saying, you know what? I promise you, I will do better in the ring than Ben Askren and Askren. Screw you. What?
Screw you, Cashew.
You would have thought I'm gonna say this, and we're gonna move on. We have to move on. But the way that Ben Askren went out his last MMA bout, his last UFC bout, you would have thought that he might will take this somewhat seriously to maybe regain some type of semblance to his name.
He didn't care.
You were knocked out in 5 seconds to your last. Oh, was there something between it? I don't know. It was his next to last fight, but he lost after that too.
Yeah.
So it was something. That's the only one I still remember that. That left a lasting impression in my brain that you got knocked out in 5 seconds, bro. Like yo boy. And now, yeah, you've successfully taken that image. No, that image still gonna be in my head that he got knocked out in 5 seconds. But now you're the joke of the MMA. You are a literal punchline. It's bad. This was bad.
All right,
everything about it. And here's the thing, Jake Paul, he only gained notoriety from idiots that don't really even know boxing. Come on, man. Come on. This
YouTube sensation.
You know what? That's where we're at now, man. Where you have influencers getting in the ring and participating in exhibitions. I mean, let's just hope that that the well doesn't run dry if they keep on going back and forth to this. I understand getting eyes on the product, but it gets to a point where it's like, who's Jake Paul going to fight next? Like, is it going to be like Jake Paul and the rapper of the game, or Jake Paul and somebody, or it's just pretty soon.
All these UFC fighters, they all want a piece of him now.
Yeah, they all want.
They all think they can beat him, and they're going to get a chunk of change for it.
Oh, I want. Hey, if I was them, easy payday to knock this kid out. Yeah, I want pieces and parts of him too, as well too.
Give me somebody real though.
Well, he says he can knock out Mayweather. He says he can beat Mayweather, but saw what happened the last time someone that wasn't a pro boxer tried to beat Mayweather.
Well,
it didn't work out.
Well, for Jake Paul, 420 is today, the day that this show drops, right? You said this before 420, right?
Yeah.
All right, moving right along. We're done talking about the mess that was that Triller Fight. Scottie D, we got another edition called Call B.S. Money Man, what you got for us? Can you stump the almighty one and the head of creative?
All right, so we did this a couple times. Last week we did this where I gave you guys 4 different points, and you chose the one that was BS. We are now about a week and a half away from the NFL draft, so we're going to give you a couple 10 days out, 9 days out from the draft. I'm going to give you a couple quick points here regarding the NFL draft, and you tell me which one of these is BS. So same as I did last time, I will read all 4 and then go back and recap them and then let you guess which one is BS. Number 1, in 2004, Kellen Winslow Jr. was drafted in the first round. Along with his dad, the Winslows are the only father-son combination to each be drafted in the first round of the NFL draft. Kellen Winslow Jr. and his dad, both first-round draft picks. Number 2, in 2020, Joe Burrow was the overall number 1 pick in the draft. Since the modern draft began in 1967, Burrow became only the second quarterback to win the Heisman and the national championship, and then go on to be the top pick in the draft that season. The first was Cam Newton in 2011. So again, to recap, Joe Burrow was a top pick in 2020, became only the second quarterback to win the Heisman, the national championship, and go number 1 overall the first. Cam Newton, 2011. Number 3, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the Super Bowl earlier this year, and that marked the first time ever that Mr. Irrelevant from the draft, the final pick in the draft, played in and won a Super Bowl when Ryan Suckup earned his ring with the Buccaneers. Mr. Irrelevant, the final pick in the draft, first time ever to get a Super Bowl ring when he played in and won with Tampa Bay. Ryan Suckup, Gamecock. And number 4, since the year 2000, the 2000 through 2020 drafts, the school that has had their most players selected was the Ohio State Buckeyes with 141. Since the year 2000, 20 to 2020, those drafts, the school with the most NFL picks has been Ohio State with 141. One of those things I read you guys was BS, and here we'll recap them again. Number 1, in 2004, Kellen Winslow Jr. was drafted in the first round. He and his father are the only father-son combination to each be drafted in the first round. Number 2, Joe Burrow was the number 1 pick last year, becoming only the second quarterback to win the Heisman, Natty, and go number 1 overall. The first was Cam Newton in 2011. Number 3, Tampa Bay wins the Super Bowl with Mr. Irrelevant, Ryan Suckup, becoming the first ever Mr. Irrelevant to win a Super Bowl ring. And number 4, since the year 2000, the school with the most NFL picks has been the Ohio State with 141. Which of those do you call BS on, Eddie Cool?
Let's see. I know the University of Miami had quite an impressive run for quite some time. That ended a few years ago. Let's see. And then Ryan Suckup, all hail to the Gamecocks. Let's see. He won a Super Bowl. Let's see. Joe Burrow, Cam Newton. That's a real one. Let's see. And then Kellen Winslow, Jr. and Sr. So I would say the Burrows and Cam Newton draft pick, winning a national championship and being number 1 overall draft pick, that's real. I want to say the one about Ohio State is BS. I want to say that.
Okay. Be Live, what do you think?
Well, I'm going to say anything about the Ohio State is BS. But I'm trying to remember if both Winslows were drafted in the first round. I agree.
They both were. The question is, are they the only ones to each be drafted in the first round?
Like father-son duo?
Father-son.
Yeah.
All right. Because
I mean, that's a fact. They both were
okay.
drafted in the first round. So I wasn't giving you a lie by saying that they both
okay.
were.
What about, because see, Archie Manning didn't have that great of an NFL career, right?
He was
so on a terrible team.
Yeah, he didn't get drafted first round. I don't think so. So
no,
that was so. Man, you know what? We're gonna do it again. One of these days we're gonna call BS on 2 different things. I want to say Alabama has more draft picks, so I'm gonna call Ohio State. That's BS.
Alabama and Ohio State are tied with the most first rounders with 31. But Ohio State has 141. That is the most picks in the 20-year period. So that one was not BS. Eddie, you were right about Joe Burrow and Cam. That one was absolutely true. And Ryan Suckup did become the first Mr. Irrelevant to win a Super Bowl ring, kicking with the Buccaneers. Kellen Winslow Jr. and his dad both were drafted in the first round, but so were Archie and Peyton Manning.
Oh!
And actually, if in the exact same draft, Archie and Eli Manning both drafted in the first round. So he wasn't even the first one that day to be drafted in the first round.
Doggone it.
And listen to this. There's a couple. There's actually a couple others, a handful of others. Clay Matthews and Clay Matthews Jr., Bruce Matthews and Jake Matthews, Craig Ironhead Hayward and Cam Hayward, the Bosas, them and their dad, both first round picks, and Mark Ingram Jr. There's a couple others. Those are some of the most recognizable names. There was actually, I think, about 7 or 8 of those. But good work there. Be Live. You were close on the man that you were hot on. Archie was drafted in the first round in 1971, and Peyton in 98. That was the first father-son duo.
Wow.
Ooh.
I thought about it. I was like, I just don't remember Archie Manning having that great of a career, so I didn't think he went first round. But man, good one. You stumped us for the first time.
That's right. Man. Yeah. You guys both had two on me coming into this one. So well done, guys. Your thought process and reasoning, I was very good. I appreciate it. Good job with that. We'll do it again here real soon.
Absolutely. I enjoy that. I really do, because it really makes you think. Dang, I was so close. Oh well.
Yeah, I was thinking extra hard too. I'm like, okay, we got Eli and Archie and Peyton, and then Cam and Joe Burrow. They did the same thing. That's right. And I was like, well, and I'm kind of like B-Live. I thought Alabama, just because I was thinking about the time where the University of Miami, you remember they had that run like for
they had
years.
Early
6 in the
2000s.
first round. Yeah, and they had 6 in the first round of one year, which was a record at the time. I'm not sure. That may still be a record to have 6 picks in the first round. I'm not sure if that stands or not, but yeah, Miami was hot on the boards there for a few years early in the 2000s. Yeah.
Alabama might break that this year.
They just might, man. I'm between Najee Harris, Mac Jones, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, a couple linemen, Patrick Surtain.
Yeah.
So they just might do that this year.
They might.
Yep. Well, Scottie D, thank you for another edition of I Call B.S. But fellas, guess what time it is?
What time is it? What time is it?
I'm glad you asked. It's time for another edition of our favorite portion of the show, the Choices of the Voices segment. With that being said, hey, yo, Button, hit it. I got to stop it now.
And now, our favorite part of the show, the Choices of the Voices.
Once again, thank you to the wonderful and ever so lovely Miss Button for introducing our favorite portion of the show. You heard the woman. She ain't got no right, rhyme, or reason to lie. It is the Choices of the Voices segment of this here Sports Bros podcast. Yes, also a shout out to our new listeners and new subscribers, because what we do here, Scottie D asks the questions. Y'all give us the answers. We give you our answers. We pick at you, but guess what? It's all good, clean fun. And with that being said, Scottie D, what's the question for this week's Choices of the Voices?
Well, we just asked to have our listeners share with us a sports story that was uplifting and positive, something that was beyond just, my team won the Super Bowl or my team won the World Series. I had a few cool answers here. A couple things that made us smile. Eddy, cool. What do you see there? What did we get?
All right, here we go. Starting off first, the Hall of Famer, the OG, woo, himself, Uncle Max. And he says, Gene Stallings has flipped burgers at Crystal's throughout the years to raise money for kids with Down syndrome in honor of his now late son, John Mark. He also created an annual golf tournament that raises money for kids that are challenged by many afflictions. It has been his passion for decades. I love seeing his son on the Bama sidelines every week during his tenure there. Coach Stallings has both raised awareness and millions of dollars in his quest to help others. Gene Stallings, flipping burgers for a cause.
All right. That's a great one, Uncle Max. I love hearing stuff like that, man. I love that the positivity that comes from. That's exactly what we were looking for there, Uncle Max. Not so much the answer from Trey Duke.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we call the foolishness of the segment. Here goes Trey Duke. He says, when Dak Prescott stole $160 million from the Dallas Cowboys, the cops didn't even arrest him because he is so bad at football. I thought that was heroic for my boys in blue. Foolishness alert, ladies and gentlemen. The foolishness alert of the podcast.
Trey Duke, you can't let this Prescott thing go, man. He can't let. He is not over Tony Romo. That's unbelievable. This is funny. So I guess we give him credit for uplifting our spirits here, giving us something to smile about, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Trey Dizzle is just a damn gift that keeps on giving. I swear he got to be the gift that keeps on giving. Because, ladies and gentlemen, real quick, whenever we see a Trey Duke answer, is oh boy, here come the foolishness.
Here we go.
Here we go. Get ready. You know, there's a few times where Trey Dizzle does come through, and this is one of the times where he really comes through with this damn foolishness right here. All right, fellas.
Oh, you remember a month or so ago, he gave us like this great answer about sports with his kid and stuff. And
yeah, it's phenomenal.
Now he's back to hating on Dak Prescott. All right. At least some things never change. Get well, Trey. Hope you're doing good out there, buddy.
Yeah, man. Get well, Trey Dizzle. Get well, Trey Dizzle. Mark Oles, he said, Aaron Rodgers is only a guest host on Jeopardy.
That's a feel-good story because he's a guest.
Yeah, he's only going to be there.
He's only going to be there for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, he's really not good. And I keep hearing people say they liked him on there. I did not. I wish I'd put Favre on there.
I didn't watch it. Because I'm kind of like, discount double check Jeopardy.
I've already told you, until it's LeVar Burton, it ain't sitting well with me. But hey, he's just a guest, so it's either got to be LeVar Burton or Ken Jennings, one of the two. I'll accept either one of those, but absolutely not Aaron Rodgers. No, just
Ken Jennings was okay. He was. I got used to him.
Yeah.
After 2 weeks. So anyway, that's a whole other topic.
He's got to have some personality to replace the legendary Alex Trebek. Man, I still can't believe he's gone. Moving right along, we got terrible Pete Talansky. He says Derek Redmond in the 1992 Olympics, when he pulled his hamstring and his dad ran onto the track to help his son finish the race. This one always makes my allergies act up, a.k.a. hashtag who cutting onions.
Yeah, that definitely just... That is definitely a feel-good story, and just one of the true meaning of sports, and just like putting it all out there, and just how much heartfelt emotion goes through, especially these events and everything. So yeah, I will. This answer from Pete Talansky was not so terrible. So
no, because if you think about it, guys, we've all seen that. You guys know I've seen this footage, right? Mm-hmm. Where the guy's dad comes in, and for those of you out there who are unsure what we're talking about, what this young Olympian was running this race and couldn't continue, and his dad came out of the stands and put his arm under his son's arm, and basically, for all intents and purposes, kind of carried him across the finish line because he said he was going to finish that race, and we did it together. Man, I couldn't tell you the name of anybody else that would have even run in that race. Gold medalist year after year, we forget who they are, but we always remember this story, this situation. That had more meaning. I mean, I'm sure that kid would have loved to come in with a gold medal, but don't you think even all these years later, that guy has got to think back on what an incredible Olympic memory that was. That was amazing. That was seriously an allergy-inducing situation right there. So good answer, Pete.
Yep. Hashtag who cutting onions. All right, moving right along. We got Martin Tracy, aka Matty Ice. He said Jim Rice saving a 4-year-old kid who had been hit in the head by a rocket foul ball. Jim Rice immediately grabbed the kid from the stands and took him to the medics.
Heroic.
Yeah.
That's hero stuff.
Yeah. You never forget that. I think that happened in 1982, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. You know, he actually Martin Tracy, Matty Ice here, he included a YouTube clip of that on our page, and I didn't click on it. I wish I had prior to this, and I will later. But I remember the story, and I remember I've heard that told a few times before. I want to watch that again later on, though. So I encourage you, if you're listening, to go onto my Facebook page and scroll down through to the Choices of the Voice section and click on this and give that a watch, as well as the one that Pete mentioned. Pete included YouTube link on that one as well.
Yep, and shout out to our listeners for coming through with the YouTube links and the videos. And like, you want to see it? Here it is. There it is. There it goes. All right, Monique Adams. She said Grant Hill, and the reason being, Grant Hill was able to have a 19-year basketball career after battling numerous injuries. Yes, numerous injuries, getting traded a lot of times. I also did some research, and during his ankle surgery, Grant Hill contracted MRSA.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he contracted MRSA. Grant Hill's one of those stories where it's like, if he wasn't hurt, where would he rank in the the greatest of all time? I mean, he still had a good career, and he wound up finished with over 17,000 points. So you got to be pretty good to finish with 17,000 career points. Won't you agree, fellas?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. But he was on his way to elite status before the injury.
Yeah, man. Because I remember
his dad was a cowboy. I mean, legendary stuff.
Yep. Yeah, his dad was
Calvin Hill.
Yeah,
Calvin Hill.
Well, I thought it was Tyrone. It was Calvin Hill.
Calvin Hill.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I guess his dad looked like a Tyrone. But either way, in the words of the Almighty Be Live, I digress. All right, Chris Rivera, he gave us a good one. And this gentleman was in the news today. He said Alex Smith from the Washington football team last year had his leg broken in a game over 2 years ago, shattered on impact, injury, got infected, had over 17 procedures to see if he could even walk again, let alone play football. Was told the infection could kill him. He relearned how to walk properly and then run, and was back on the field this past season. And his team then won the division, the Washington football team. Alex Smith. That's another good story there, fellas. Another good story.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. And it was announced today that he's retired.
Yep.
So, man, but just comeback of forever award goes to Alex Smith, because it was like, there's no way. We all saw that injury. There's no way he's going to be able to recover from that. And
yeah, especially with the infections and stuff. I mean, it went from bad to worse with that guy. And then to worse, because then he had to go play for the Washington football team. He didn't have a name. And I'm going to talk about that in my pepper point later on.
Yeah, the Washington football team.
Oh, boy.
Trying to come up with some names. I can't wait to hit you with that one there. That's me, my number one first pepper point. Okay, we'll give you something to look forward to.
Oh, boy. Oh boy. Breathe. Woosah. Or it's gonna be all right. He's poking the bear. I do the same thing. It's gonna be all right. Pressure.
Listen here, you bear pokers. You guys are crazy. So Alex Smith, yes, he did announce as of today that he did retire. Is it just me, or should they rename the whole damn Comeback Player of the Year award to the Alex Smith Award?
Oh yeah. It's fitting. It's fitting. Because that's the comeback. Like I said, I don't know if I've heard a bigger comeback story. Only one that there's one that I think of, but I'll leave that be. I'll leave that be for a second. All right.
Okay, you leave that be. All right. And with that being said, we're gonna start with you first, Be Live. What you got?
This one is more on a personal level. And let me start off by saying to all the listeners, watchers of our show that are Clemson Tiger fans, they know I'm a Clemson diehard fan. I bleed orange. All roads lead to Dabo. Let me go ahead and get this out of the way. Because this story is so powerful, this will be the second time on the show I'm actually going to allow it that we're going to talk good about a Gamecock.
Wow, it's a record.
Yeah, and that just hurt me saying. But man, now this for real. This goes out to friends back home, and we talked about Mr. Irrelevant, Ryan Suckup. Now we're going to talk about number 1 draft pick, Jadeveon Clowney,
the newest member of the Cleveland Browns.
Yes,
Clowney a brownie?
Yep, Clowney's a brownie, baby.
Yeah, but yeah, 6 years ago he was like I said, he was on the Houston Texas franchise, and he was a number 1 draft pick. Everybody remembers that, South Carolina fans, Gamecock fans, Coot fans, God bless America. That's hard to say, but we got to continue with the show. It's going to be all right. Remembers that ridiculous sack that Jadeveon Clowney had against Michigan. That will never go away. This dude was ridiculous in college. Ridiculous. And to the tunes of friends back home that are diehard Carolina Gamecock fans, and I'm going to show you how diehard they are. One of their, and this goes out to Heath and Alicia Brady, and their son, promptly named William Bryce Brady. Anybody knows about college football, South Carolina Gamecocks? Williams Bryce Stadium is the name of their stadium, and they named their kid. They named their son William Bryce.
Such a beautiful name. Such a beautiful name.
Yeah. But this is such a feel-good story because he has had a struggle growing up, even to when he was born, had breathing issues, and has gone through multiple open heart surgeries throughout his childhood and everything. And so it was a point in time where we didn't think that he was going to survive the surgeries and everything that he, all of the ailments that he had. To the point to where the Make-A-Wish Foundation, they reached out to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and one of his biggest wishes was to meet Jadeveon Clowney. 6 years ago, almost to the day, I would say this was April 27th, back in 2015, Heath and Alicia and William received a letter informing them that the Make-A-Wish Foundation was going to grant his wish, and he was going to be able to meet Jadeveon Clowney. And this was actually in September 2015, where they were flown to Houston, was on the field with them, and William was able to tackle him, play catch with Jadeveon Clowney. And just, you could see how elated he was. Like, there's nothing more pure about sports than when you see it from the innocence of a child.
Yeah,
and you could see he was so uplifted. And I believe more than anything that alone, just the fact he got the chance to meet him, I'm so happy to say that he is now 12 years old. He's still pushing. He's still fighting every single day. And that's just, it was such a feel-good story then, and it still is now. And I just wanted to give a shout out to William Bryce Brady, Heath and Alicia Brady, very good friends of mine. I love their family. I love the fact they welcomed me into their home to watch the South Carolina Clemson game. And they took a picture where South Carolina beat Clemson for the 5th time in a row. And that was the last time that the Gamecocks beat Clemson. So you knew at some point in time, this feel-good story was going to come to an end. Because all roads lead to Dabo. All roads lead to Dabo. Oh,
let me see if I can mute your mic right quick. I'm about to be Tony reality because you
I do it too.
You're going too far. You're going too damn far.
But I love the Brady family, man. Oh man, they're pillars to the community back in North Myrtle Beach. They've supported the football program back there, leaps and bounds what they've done for the community, and it was just such a feel good story that thanks to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, Jadeveon Clowney, just really, like, I honestly believe that moment saved his life, and he continues to fight on to this day. So big shout out to them.
Cool moment. Great moment. Great moment. Good choice, Be Live. Good choice, Be Live. Scottie D, what you got in the pot?
Well, a couple of pictures I put up on the Facebook page illustrated some good stories. One was James Conner, who in his junior year at Pitt tore his MCL and then was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. He beat that, and throughout his time at Pitt and even with the Steelers, was known to visit hospitals regularly and check in on cancer patients and kids and stuff. So he's a very positive story, and congratulations to him. He just signed a contract with the Arizona Cardinals. He's moved on from the Steelers. There was a picture that I put on there that I remember seeing from, you know how the ESPYs will nominate stuff like this from, you know, every year, where a girl hit a home run in a girls softball game, and I think she tore her ACL, and the girls from the other team picked her up and carried her around the bases so she could rightfully score. The one that touched me a lot that I never forgot, though, was one that the ESPYs featured and the ESPN showed from time to time, was the autistic kid named Jason McElwain from Rochester, New York suburb. He went to Greece Athens High School, and in 2003, the head coach of the basketball team, Jim Johnson, allowed him to become the manager of the basketball team. In 2006, in the final game of the year, they were competing for the division title, and they had a significant lead. And with 4 minutes and 19 seconds left, he put Jason into the game to play. You know, he had been a manager for 4 years, but he wanted to give him a chance to actually get on the court. And this kid went for 20 in the last 4 minutes and 19 seconds game. He had 6 3-pointers. And in his words, he got hot as a pistol. You know, this young autistic kid had the time of his life. And when the game was over, the fans stormed the court and they carried him around like Rudy. It was awesome. It was a great moment. And it actually inspired like a string of other similar things I've seen since, where kids who were special needs or autistic were allowed to participate in games and had their shining moments. But this is the one that I remembered like as the first one that really stood out to me. And Jason McElwain was an incredible story. That's another thing to go on YouTube and check out, because that kid was on fire. 6 3-pointers, 20 points in all in 4 minutes and 19 seconds to close out his senior year at Greece Athena High School. So that was mine, Eddie. Cool. What you got?
What was the pistol? Hot like a what? What did he say, Scottie D?
He said he was hot as a pistol.
Hot as a pistol. That might be that might be the title of the show, but no one's getting shot. We promise. No one's getting shot. All right, fellas. Be live. With us being Panthers fans, you should know this one as well too. Scottie D, you being an all-around sports fan, you know football as well too. You should know this one. Thomas Davis, a Walter Payton Man of the Year recipient. The reason I selected Thomas Davis is because he had 3 ACL tears. Listen, he had 3 ACL tears between November 10th, November 10th, 2009, and then September 18th, 2011. So that's 23 months if you do the math. That's 3 ACL tears on the same knee. So what did Thomas Davis do? Oh, he just had all 3 surgeries, and then he came back and played and had a pretty stellar, successful career. He had a career year, and he led the Panthers to having the number 2 defense in the league, if I'm not mistaken, 2015. Yes, 2015. It was him and Luke Kuechly, Chase Blackburn, and a few other fellas. That feat of coming back from 3 ACL tears and repairs has never been done in any of the major sports. Look at all the sports there is in the world, and the numerous times where athletes have torn, their ACLs. You're over and done with. Normally at the second time, you call it a career. Thomas Davis was like, nope. And in the words of the Isaac brothers, I got work to do. He had work to do. And he was a pillar of the community of Charlotte. And he also played for the LA Chargers and also the Washington football team, where he retired, but he signed a 1-day contract to retire as a member of the Carolina Panthers. And I also forgot, he suffered a broken arm in the 2015 NFC title game against the Cardinals. What did he do? Well, he had surgery, got a plate put in his arm, got a cast on, got his arm done up real well, and he played in Super Bowl 50. Even though the Panthers lost, he played in Super Bowl 50. But the fact of the matter is that if Thomas Davis can come back from 3 catastrophic ACL tears to continue his season, and to also to have a broken arm because there's a 2-week break between the title game and the Super Bowl, he's like, look, I got to be there, I got to play. So Thomas Davis, man, much respect to you. And that's the stuff that heroes and legends are made of.
Good answers all around. All good ones.
And me, because I'm not like the money man, because I almost spilled the beans. Because when we were talking about comeback players, I was like, there's one guy, and I know you heard it, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, let me let me not do that, because I remember looking at the rundown, I almost spilled the beans. So I don't steal from my fellow bros like the other guy that's on the show. I'm just say that. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, what it say? I ain't gonna point no elbows, but yeah, man. Thomas Davis, man, a very great and powerful, inspirational story, which lets you know no matter how many times you get knocked down, is how you get back up and how you react to it. With that being said, shout out to Uncle Max, Trey Dizzle with his foolishness, Mark O, Terrible Pete Talansky, Matty Ice, Martin Tracy, Monique Adams, and Chris Rivera for their answers and for this week's Choices of the Voices. With that being said, Scottie D, what's on tap?
All right, next week, as you know, will be draft week, so we'll be recording on the Monday before the draft, and we're going to be topical on that one. So we're going to ask you this week, who are you most excited about to see your personal favorite team draft on draft day? Now, I want you to think about draft day and not just be like, sometimes you don't know much about a guy, and later on you're like, oh, that's cool. I'm glad we got him. He turned out to be, I didn't know anything about him. I'm talking about on draft day, they called this guy's name, and you were like, yes, I wanted that dude. I can't wait to have him on my team. So that's what we're going to talk about next week. Someone who really got you excited for your favorite NFL team, who they drafted on draft day, gave you the feels. That's next week, Eddie. Cool.
All right. With that being said, check us out next week for another edition of the Choices of the Voices.
Okay, boys, let's bring it home with a round of pepper.
You heard the woman. It's time to get the hell up out of here and go home, because guess what? It is time for pepper. You know how we do it. 3 topics, rapid fire style, kind of, sort of, not really. You might learn something. We might laugh at each other. Scottie D and Be Live might kill each other because
no, this is gonna be no killing each other. I'm just gonna kill him. There ain't gonna be no killing each other. I'm just gonna kill him if he act up. All right, my bad. I digress.
All right, with that being said, I'm not gonna waste no more time and no violence on the podcast, please. All right, here we go. On this day in history, back in 1912, Fenway Park officially opens. The home of the Boston Red Sox, that's still open for business to this very day, as the Red Sox beat the New York Highlanders 7-6 in 11 innings. Fenway Park, Big Green Monster, home to the first place Boston Red Sox. Over to you, Scottie D.
I don't like the sound of that first place Boston Red Sox. Not crazy about that. All right, first pepper point, news in Washington, Pennsylvania. I got my first Moderna shot. Okay, now, the RBC Heritage at Hilton Head this past weekend saw Stewart Cink win the tournament at 19 under. That's his second win this year, actually, on this during this golf season, the 2021 golf season. He played from the senior tees. That's okay. They let him. Stewart Cink had his son Reagan, 23-year-old Reagan, on the bag. Stewart Cink is 47. I think he didn't have a win on the PGA Tour for like 12 years. He won in 2 different decades, skipped a decade, and now he's back to winning in the 20s. An amazing week. And on Sunday, his older son, flew in, and the 2 sons and mom were all there, hugging around the green. I can't believe they didn't cry. I was sitting there tearing up watching this, because this dude and his son, they won a PGA event, a good one with good competitive players. But Stewart Cink wasn't even really challenged. He had a no less than a 4-stroke lead. That's as close as he got, I think, on Sunday. But nonetheless, on the 17th hole, he went after the flag on the par 3 and birdied it, and he was on his way. So Stewart Cink, congratulations on that one. There, my friends, is another uplifting story for you. Be Live, over to you.
All right. Well, let's that is a good story. Another good story involves a player in the NBA by the name of Kevin Durant, which a lot of people have been bashing left and right because of his antics on social media, He comes across as whining, crying and everything. Well, Kevin Durant just whined and cried and boo-hooed his way to the bank because I know everybody's heard about cryptocurrency, and the big thing right now is Doge to the moon, Dogecoin, Bitcoin, all these other things that got going on. Cryptocurrency is the new thing right now. Well, back in 2017, Kevin Durant invested in company that owns a cryptocurrency selling and buying platform called Coinbase. Well, this past Wednesday, Coinbase went public, publicly trading in stock market, whatever. And yeah, people bought in big. At in 2017, Coinbase was worth $1.6 billion. After this week of trading and going public, they are now looking at the tunes of being worth $85 billion. So we're not sure what Kevin Durant invested in back, how much he invested in 2017, but is now worth 53 times as much. He didn't double his money. He didn't triple his money. He didn't quadruple his money. 53 times. So Kevin Durant secured the bag, and Eddy Cool the ball.
If he could just keep his ass off Twitter, he'll be good to go. He'll be fine. All that damn crying. You know what? Maybe he can wipe his tears with $100 bills now that he's good.
Yeah.
I wish I had those kind of problems. Anyways, my second pepper point, we're going back to the squared circle. As we admitted before, yes, we are professional wrestling fans. We're fans of the aspect of sports entertainment, the suspension of disbelief. But as to every line of work, there's a good side, then there's a dark side. The Vice Network, they have a series called The Dark Side of the Ring. And what is it? Chronicles the dark side of the ring of certain events and people and promotions in the square circle business. They had a two-part about Chris Benoit, the Montreal screw job, Herb Abrams and the UWF. That's my favorite one. I don't know why. It's just like my favorite one. I can watch it twice. And the death of Dino Bravo. All right, so they return for season 3. That's right, season 3. And stories include the legendary late great Brian Pillman. Nick Gage was a professional wrestler also who wrestled for CZW, who had a match with John Moxley. The preview video is out for that now. I would put it on the Sports Bros podcast page, but it's a little graphic, and we're going to stay away from that because, don't want to scare the kids half to death. It involves a pizza cutter. And that's all. Man. Yep. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. CZW, Combat Zone Wrestling. Yeah, it's ECW 2.0. All right. And then the Collision in Korea event back in the Collision in Korea event, which was a joint promotion event between WCW and New Japan, and it took place in North Korea. Yeah.
Oh, I read a story about this. That's gonna be a very interesting one.
Yeah,
I know that story.
Yeah, that North Korea, and where it was rumored to have an attendance of 150,000 fans in attendance. I don't know if it was by choice or by force, and it's rumored to be the biggest crowd in the history of a professional wrestling event.
I think Muhammad Ali even went with them.
He did. Yes, he did. Yes, he
rode on the plane over with them, I think.
Yes, he did. And they're also going to talk about the Ultimate Warrior as well, too. Grizzly Smith. If you don't know who Grizzly Smith is, I'll throw a few names at you. Jake the Snake Roberts, Sam Houston, Rock and Robin, and the dysfunction of that family. Because if you don't know, it's pretty much out there. And also the Dynamite Kid, a.k.a. Tom Billington. They will chronicle his career as well, too. And guess what, fellas? There's going to be a spinoff of Dark Side of the Wrestling entitled Dark Side of the Ring, entitled The Dark Side of Football. Details to come.
I'll watch it.
Me too.
Okay.
Over to you, Scottie D.
All right. My second pepper point involves a name change. Ben Askren is now going to officially go by Ben Askew. I'm kidding. All right, my second pepper point. Just a few weeks ago, Hope Troutwine of the University of North Texas threw the first ever immaculate perfect game in Division I softball history. That means, guys, immaculate. She struck out everybody. 21 strikeouts. Her team defeated Arkansas Pine Bluff 3-0. Hope is a senior, and hopefully she'll be pitching for the Pittsburgh Pirates next season. 21 strikeouts in 7 innings. That's unbeatable. You can't do better than that. B-Live, over to you. Let's go Bucks.
That is the epitome of a perfect game.
It's an immaculate game. They always say if you strike out an inning, everybody inning, that's an immaculate. Or an immaculate inning, I think, is 9 pitches. I think it's 3 strikeouts on 3 pitches per batter. I think that's technically an immaculate inning. So anyway, it's about as perfect as you can get. She struck out everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
Another uplifting story. B-Live, over to you.
I like it. Well, my story isn't as uplifting, but it can be. It depends on how you look at it, because the Brooklyn Nets, they're getting a lot of flack because got all these former All-Stars and coming over and building this super team just to beat one guy, as everybody like to say. It's not for one guy. We've had this conversation before. But unfortunately, this past week, one of the Brooklyn Nets that just joined the team is calling it a career. And one, LaMarcus Aldridge, has 15-year career. And at times, at the beginning of his career, didn't think it was going to be this long, because as a rookie in 2007, he was diagnosed with Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome. It's an abnormality that can cause a rapid heartbeat. And this was back in 2007 in his rookie season. Well, when they were playing against the Los Angeles Lakers, I think it reared its ugly head. And he complained of an irregular heartbeat, a rapid heartbeat. And at that point in time, he decided to call it quits after a 15-year career. And he says, simply put, for 15 years, I put basketball first. And now it is time to put my health and my family first. So, hey, hats off to the LaMarcus Aldridge. 15 years with an abnormality, and just it's one of those things where modern science, medicine, and just he had heart, he had guts, and put together a very stellar career.
Time to go.
Yeah. Take care of your family. Absolutely. Take care of yourself. You were great on the basketball court. Enjoy the rest of your life. LaMarcus Aldridge. Yes, sir. Eddy Cool. The ball.
My third and final pepper point. I would like to wish a happy birthday to Don Mattingly. Scottie D, you know about Don Mattingly, don't you? Play for your Yankees, right?
Donnie Baseball. Pete Tlansky's favorite player.
Yep, Don Mattingly. He was a first baseman for the New York Yankees and the 1985 MVP, and he was born in Evansville, Indiana. With that being said, happy birthday, Don Mattingly. Enjoy. Who's the manager for? Is he a manager for the Dodgers?
Marlins. I don't know if he's currently managing.
I thought he was still, but yeah.
But if he is, he's with the Marlins. But I don't know if he still is with them.
Okay, well, happy birthday to him, and I've seen a recent picture of him, and he looks great for his age. So happy birthday to Don Mattingly. Over to you, Scottie D.
All right, my third and final pepper point involves a name change in Washington. That's right, Washington, PA. That's me. I will be known as the Sexy Beast from now on. That's the name change. All right, so we talked about the goings on of this crazy fight situation on Saturday night. But while that nonsense mayhem Triller stuff was going on, Robert Whitaker turned in a stellar performance against Kelvin Gastelum. Whitaker was knocked out in the second round a couple years ago by Israel Adesanya, who is now still the champion. And now it appears as if that rematch is going to happen. Whitaker at that point said he was a little burned out. He took some time off, destroyed Darren Till and Gerald Cannonier, and now he looks really like, guys, I'm telling you, he actually could give Izzy a run for his money, especially considering we saw Adesanya having to fight off his back in his last contest. So a little chink in the armor may have been exposed. But anyway, that's going to be coming up. That's got to be his next opponent in the UFC, I would believe. But this weekend, we got a welterweight fight, Kamaru Usman and Jorge Masvidal. That is a rematch from last summer. If you remember, Masvidal took that fight on short notice and lost the decision to Usman. Fight wasn't really close, but Masvidal was gassed early because he didn't have a camp to get ready. And Usman claims he was fighting with a broken nose. Now, seemingly, they're going to come together and both be at 100%. There's also a strawweight fight between Rose Namajunas challenging Weili Zhang, and there's already some weird things being said by Rose in regards to communism and stuff in Weili. I don't know. You know, she's Chinese, and I don't know. It just seems like there's another log being thrown on the fire for that fight. And then Valentina Shevchenko, who doesn't lose to anybody, is fighting Jessica Andrade in the flyweight championship. A couple of other good fights on that card. So I look forward to another Saturday night home watching the fights, boys. I recommend you do the same. Stay out of trouble. Stay home Saturday night. Watch some fights. Over to you, B Live.
All right. Well, the moment that you've all been waiting for, that Scottie D has been playing with me all this time. And you know what? I actually allowed it because I was going to make this my first pepper point, but I saw where this was going. I was like, you know what? I'm going to switch up my order and I'm going to save the best for last. And there is a name change brewing in the city of Washington, District of Columbia. Their football team, as you know, this past year has been known as the Washington football team, and they'll be the Washington football team this coming season. But now, the season ticket holders have been given a list of roughly 10 names and was asked to choose which two were the best. And they're putting feelers out there to see what the public, what the season ticket holders might think would be a good choice of their name going into the 2022 season. I would like to present to you some of the names that have been presented to the season ticket holders, and I kid you not. All right. One of the names is the Washington First City Football Club, FCFC. I don't know about this may be something crazy to me, but when has Washington ever been the first city? They weren't even the first capital.
No, they were not.
No.
So, but no, these are the think heads. The president of Washington Redskins, the Washington football team, my bad, is coming up with the Washington Griffins. The second you think that might be a good idea, I'm going to show up in I'm a big Peter Griffin outfit and see how that works out for you. I promise you.
You know what a Griffin is, though?
I know what a Griffin is, but I'm just saying this is we are in 2021. We are way too modern I'm telling you, that's going to be the first reference. That's going to be the first joke if that ever happens. So don't do it. You've got the Washington Presidents. Exactly.
Nobody likes the presidents. The last two presidents have been more hated by anybody ever anyway.
So yeah, let's not do that. We have the Washington Rising. I don't know what type of mascot that'll be, but that's somebody thought of that.
It'll be a big old sun.
This is or even better, the Washington Rubies. Y'all think I'm lying. All right. And then another one is the Washington DC Football Club, DCFC, because of course, I guess they want to have a soccer feel to football. I guess they want to tie in a name that more resembles football as opposed to American football, but I don't know. W30. I don't even know I don't know. It don't make a. It just what
was it? The W232s?
Yeah, the W32. I don't some.
No, personally, I think it'd be ridiculous if they pass on Demon Cats.
but what makes this even better? What makes this even better is that also on this ballot is the Washington football team. They left that on the ballot because we've got insider knowledge. We got a source deeply rooted in the DMV, the Washington D.C. area. Our very own Joey Buckets lets us know that people are actually warming up to the name Washington football team, and I find that incredibly hilarious. What has this world come to? What in the world is going on today? Joy Buckets, I feel for you. I don't know what to tell you, but whenever it happens, I guarantee you that the Sports Bros podcast, we will definitely cover it. I guarantee, without question, we're going to have a field day with whatever name they choose.
They should have gone with potato skins when I threw it out there last year.
Just saying.
Potato skins.
You remember the stack of potato skins? Oh boy, what is so good. Oh, what is so good. All right, fellas, we got all our peppers in.
Peppered in, baby. I know B-Live has another half dozen he wants to get to, but we're short on time.
Yeah, all right. Speaking of soccer, I'm saying
no.
Oh no. Fellas, while I'm here, I got to share a quick story with you. I went to my first hockey game this past Saturday.
Oh yeah, how was that?
It was great. I went with the Ponstingle family. Shout out to my dude Kyle, his brother Sam, Megan, Mama Ponstingle, Robbie, and of course Papa Ponstingle himself. It was a great celebration. Like, you know how it is when you see hockey on TV. It's cool. You know, you got the effects and everything. Only thing I was kind of sad about, they didn't have the puck tracker like they used to have on the NHL on Fox. You remember that?
Yeah.
They didn't have that. The game was between the Cleveland Monsters and the Rochester Americans of the American Hockey League. The last time they played, the Cleveland Monsters, they hung a 9-piece and a biscuit, yes, on the Americans. Well, they still beat them by a bunch this time, but not as much. Like, to hear the stick on the ice, to hear them skating, to see the body checks, to see the goals being scored, even had one go up the top pipe. It was phenomenal, and I'm ready to go to another hockey game. So if anybody wants to go to a hockey game, you got to see one. I don't care if it's minor league, major league, you got to go see it. And so that just about completes the list. The next thing is a Super Bowl and a WrestleMania. So yeah, if you get a chance to go to a hockey game, please go to a hockey games. Let's go Monsters. Let's get it. All right,
the
fellas.
Washington Monsters would be a good one. The Washington Monsters. The Washington Americans.
Washington
Why was that actually not on the list?
The Monsters?
No, the Americans.
It's an easy. Just plug and play. You probably got to change the whole color scheme. That's the thing. And from the looks of it, they don't want to change the color scheme, if you know what I mean. So yeah.
They would have to be red, white, and blue, and then they'd be playing the national anthem and kneeling down for it, and they'd be the Americans. Yeah. That would be an interesting story.
Jesus.
Yeah, the nation's capital. All right, fellas, anything to say before we get the hell up out of here and kind of sort of watch Monday Night Raw and enjoy life?
The Washington Red Tails, Washington Red Wolves, Washington Red Hogs. They trying to stick with the red. So
the Washington Sexy Beasts.
Cut the camera.
Washington Scots.
You can
Washington Money Men.
You can check us out on all of our Sports Bros related social media platforms: YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. You can listen to us to Anchor FM,
the
Google
Washington
Podcasts, Spotify, Scottie D's forehead, everywhere podcasts are.
The Washington Scottie D's.
The Washington Scottie D's. Everywhere podcasts are available. I go by the name of the HOC Eddy Cool. That's the Almighty B Live. That's the Money Man Scottie D. And in closing, do something nice for yourself. And if you can, do something nice for someone else. They're greatly appreciated now more than ever. The man's last name is Askren, not Askew. And that being said, it's time to get up out of here. Hopefully I don't catch a cramp. Enjoy this episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. Bye, y'all. See y'all next week. I'm trying not to fall in the chair. Bye, y'all. You know, man.